Hello and welcome to Cape Town International Airport. Today I'll be flying with Edelweiss Air from here in South Africa to Zurich in Switzerland. I'll be reviewing the seats, the food, the in-flight entertainment and the overall experience with this Swiss carrier. Edelweiss has been flying since 1995 and is a subsidiary of the national carrier Swiss Airlines. It places itself as a leisure or charter airline, flying mostly seasonal routes across the globe to popular holiday destinations. Today's flight is in one of their 5 Airbus A340-300s and I'll be travelling in economy class. Sadly, I'm taking this flight alone today. Sad face. Fran was unable to join me on board due to some visa issues. Make sure you check out the video above to see why.
I'll see you later, babe.
Bye, my love.
But that meant that the seat next to me was empty, which is always a bonus when you fly an economy long haul. We're departing Cape Town at 8:15 AM. It's highly unusual for European flights to depart Cape Town this early. Most are overnight flights departing in the evening. In fact, when we originally booked this flight, it was scheduled to depart at 7:45 PM. But about 3 months before the flight, they changed the departure time to the following morning, which is slightly annoying because I prefer to travel this route at night so as to not waste the daytime. I suppose the airline does this so they don't need to park their plane at the airport all day. After all, if a plane isn't flying, it's not making money. But as a result of this early morning departure, the international area of the airport was very quiet. I think we were the only flight taken off here for quite some time. I also went through security a little bit late, so I guess most passengers were waiting at the gate instead of doing their duty-free shopping. Okay, it's time to board. This flight is scheduled to take 11 hours and 25 minutes, covering 5,660 miles. Edelweiss fly this route between Cape Town and Zurich seasonally. There are 2 flights a week between September and October, increasing to up to 4 flights a week until March. This drops again to 3 flights in April and May, and nothing at all between June and August. It's pretty typical for all airlines who fly direct from Europe to Cape Town to increase the number of flights in the hotter months between November and March, because it attracts a lot of tourists from Europe looking to escape the cold winters.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's the captain speaking. My name is Andrew Zahn. On behalf of the entire Edelweiss crew, I'd like to welcome you on board our A340 on this flight to Zurich this morning. We'll be ready in the next couple of minutes.
At my seat I found a pair of headphones, which the packaging encourages you to take home. There was also a pillow, but no blanket. I think this was because this is now a daytime flight, so they figured they didn't need to supply these. The fold-out tray table was clean and pretty sturdy. As the safety video plays, we taxi out to the runway.
We have your attention, please, for the following presentation about safety on board. Your hand luggage must be placed in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you. Please make sure that mobile phones are either set to flight mode or completely switched off for takeoff and landing. Larger items such as laptops must be stowed away safely during taxiing, takeoff and landing.
Today we're taking off towards the south before swinging round and heading north, giving us some incredible views over Cape Town and Table Mountain. Island. This is the home to the prison where Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for 18 years of the 27 he served before the abolition of apartheid in South Africa, and as a result is now a popular tourist attraction. Shortly after takeoff, breakfast was served. It came beautifully presented in this presumably recyclable plastic tray with a cardboard sleeve. At first, I really appreciated this early service, but I was left a bit disappointed when I saw what was on offer. There was a little sliver of reformed chicken, a small slice of cheese, and a tiny tub of yogurt with a bit of granola on top. They also offered a couple of slices of bread with butter and jam, washed down with some very weak tea. Oh, and I did appreciate the metal cutlery though. That's something for rarity and economy nowadays. They tend to favour plastic or wood. The crew did come round later and offered us some more bread, but by the time they got to me near the back of the plane, the choice was a little bit limited.
More bread? They only have like the small ones. You prefer mine then?
That is okay.
It's good? Or you like the small one?
Yeah,
Okay.
However, this brown bread was lovely and crispy and tasted delicious. Whilst the food did taste quite nice, especially the bread, I was glad I had something to eat at the airport before boarding, because this just was not enough to fill me up. Out the way, it's now time to check out the in-flight entertainment. There was a lot of choice on offer. There were a few of the most recent Hollywood films available, as well as some classics. And as you'd expect for an international carrier, there was a good selection of non-English films as well. Plus the usual TV series. Young Sheldon, anyone? There was also a wide selection of music to listen to. The flight map was pretty standard. It's one of those self-rolling air show things rather than an interactive one, but it was presented in three languages, English, French and German, so it covered a lot of bases. I was quite amused to see that the French for Cape Town is in Le Cap. After browsing what was on offer, I settled on Last Night in Soho, which I hadn't heard about until now. It's a great film though. It's about a young fashion student who travels back in time to the 1960s. I would highly recommend it. However, the headphones that Edelweiss supplied were really awful, so I advise you bring your own. Lunch was served just 3.5 hours after breakfast, which, considering there was still over 5 hours of flight left, I thought was a bit soon. But given the tiny breakfast we were offered, I guess they were expecting the passengers to be a bit hungry by now. The coleslaw starter was a bit boring, but acceptable. For main, we had the option of chicken with mashed potato or a vegetarian curry. I went with the chicken, but upon seeing it, I immediately regretted my choice. The chicken didn't look very appetising, and honestly, it didn't taste that great either. I was thankful for the salt and pepper sachet that they conveniently put in a cutlery wrapper. After sprinkling all of that over my tray of food, it was much more palatable, and I actually finished it. I think this is more a reflection on how hungry I was after breakfast rather than the taste of the food itself. Edelweiss seemed to be very generous with their bread though. They served one slice with the main service, but then came round to offer more, the same they did at breakfast. Is this a generally Swiss thing to eat a lot of bread? I've never really known an airline to serve so much of it. Dessert was a lemon cake, which was a bit dry but tasted okay and not too sweet. One thing to note, unlike some full-service carriers, alcohol is not free on Edelweiss, so if you fancy a glass of wine or a beer, you're going to have to pay extra for that. Off to the loo now. The toilet was just your typical airplane toilet, small but clean. There's a baby changing tray, and the tap water was actually warm, which was nice. This was about 6 hours into the flight, so I was happy that this was in good condition. hours before landing, we were given this biscuity cake thingy, which looked a bit like a larger jammy dodger. It was really nice actually. This was washed down with an iced tea, which I didn't really enjoy. I prefer my tea hot. I guess that's the Brit in me. Then just before our descent into Zurich, they gave us all this little cake thingy, which was nice too. It seems to have the airline's logo on it, but looking online, I couldn't find what it's called. Any ideas? As we descend down over the Alps, it's time to sum up. I'd say this flight was just acceptable. Nothing special about it, but nothing much to complain about either. Yes, the food offerings were lacking in both flavour and quantity, but you really don't expect Michelin star meals when flying in economy. The staff were all friendly and welcoming, and I got to my destination without fuss or delay, including my onward connection to Heathrow. Would I fly with them again? Possibly, but only if they were significantly the cheapest option available. It wouldn't be my first choice in a straight fight with, say, Emirates or Lufthansa.
Welcome to Zurich, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the airplane has reached its final parking position and your fasten seatbelt sign has been turned off.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.